Today I'm going to explain to you how to use your consciousness or your awareness of being to deny the evidence of your senses or what your reason dictates, and become aware of already being in your desired state or reality, thus objectified on the screen of space. I'm also going to quote one of Neville Goddard's lectures called Thinking Fourth Dimensionally, in which he goes into a detail on how to actually mentally feel or sense any invisible state or reality in your imagination and externalize it on the screen of space. There are two actual outlooks on the world possessed by every man, and the ancient storytellers were fully conscious of these two outlooks. They called the one the carnal mind and the other the mind of Christ. To the natural mind, reality is confined to the instant called now. This very moment seems to contain the whole of reality. Everything else is unreal. To the natural mind, the past and the future are purely imaginary. In other words, my past, when I use the natural mind, is only a memory image of things that were. And to the limited focus of the carnal or natural mind, the future does not exist. The natural mind does not believe that it could revisit the past and see it as something that is present, something that is objective and concrete to itself. Neither does it believe that the future exists. So when I use my natural mind, the only thing that exists for me is what my senses confirm at the moment. Anything else that my senses do not confirm does not exist or does not seem real, when in reality, anything that I can imagine or conceive of, or anything that I can mentally feel or sense in my imagination, is already here right now. For example, the only reason why my past or my future seem imaginary to my natural or rational mind is because I am not there. And what I mean by that is because I am not currently there in my consciousness. But it doesn't mean that they do not exist. They continue to exist. And the way I know that they exist is because I can perceive them. I can see them in my imagination. It's just currently I am not there in my consciousness. And because both my past and my future exist right now in their invisible form, and this is exactly why I can see them, I can perceive them in my imagination right now, I can easily re-enter my past and reanimate it on the screen of space. And the same applies to my future, which my rational mind thinks that it doesn't exist due to the fact that it is invisible to my senses, when in fact it does exist right now. This is why I can see it in my imagination, and my imagination is God. My awareness of being is God. Everything is your consciousness pushed out. Therefore, whatever you can see there, whatever reality or state you can perceive in your imagination, you can perceive it only because it already exists. If it did not exist, you would not be able to perceive it. So you can easily enter any state or reality that you think does not exist right now and animate it on the screen of space. To the Christ mind, the spiritual mind, which in our language we will call the fourth dimensional focus, the past, the present, and the future of the natural mind are a present whole. It takes in the entire array of sensory impressions that man has encountered, is encountering, and will encounter, meaning everything, the past, present, and the future, exist simultaneously right now. The only reason you and I are functioning as we are today and are not aware of the greater outlook is simply because we are creatures of habit, and habit renders us totally blind to what otherwise we should see. But habit is not law. It acts as though it were the most compelling force in the world, yet it's not law. We can create a new approach to life. If you and I would spend a few minutes every day in withdrawing our attention from the region of sensation and concentrating it on an invisible state, and remain faithful to this contemplation, feeling and sensing the reality of an invisible state, we would in time become aware of this greater world, this dimensionally larger world. The state contemplated is now a concrete reality, displaced in time. So the key here is to realize that everything exists right now in its invisible form. All these states and realities exist simultaneously right now. And what you need to do is to discipline your mind to become aware of something that your senses at the moment deny. And you do this by mentally feeling or sensing the reality in which you already have the thing desired. In other words, you want to mentally feel yourself in your desired reality, in your consciousness. And as you keep doing it, what's going to happen is that your current reality will begin to fade away. So all you need to do is to enter any particular reality in your imagination and become one with it. So the key to make any invisible parallel reality or state visible is to go there in your imagination, knowing that you are actually already there. It already exists and you are already there. What you need to understand is that wherever you are in your imagination, you are literally already there. I know it may not make sense to your rational mind or to your senses, but you have to trust that you are already there. And you want to continue mentally feeling and sensing yourself in your desired reality. So you want to become one with whatever you are imagining, because your awareness of being is God. So everything is your awareness or your consciousness pushed out. As you become aware of already being in your desired reality by mentally feeling and sensing that particular reality, your current reality will have no choice but to fade away. What's going to happen is that you are going to go through a bridge of incidents to prove to you that you are already in your desired reality. When your mind functions outside of the range of your present senses, when your mind is healed of all the former limitations, then you are the presence called Jesus that can resurrect the longings of the heart of man. As your mind is cleansed of your former concept of self, you assume you are what you want to be, and remaining faithful to this assumption, you give form to your assumption. The state you desired is now your fixed concept of yourself. But now, having assumed that I am what formerly I desired to be, I cannot continue desiring what I am conscious of being. So I do not discuss it. I talk to no one concerning what I am. It is so obvious to me that I am what I wanted to be, that I walk as though I were. I close the door. What door? The door of my senses. I simply shut out completely all that my senses reveal. I deny the evidence of my senses. I suspend the limited reason or the natural man and walk in this bold assertion that I am what my senses deny. So the key here is to completely deny the evidence of your senses and walk as though you are already that which you desire to be, or you are already in your desired reality. So with the door of my senses closed, I completely deny the evidence of my senses, which mark my assumption, and do not discuss with others whether my assumption is possible or not. And then the condition which I desired and assumed that I had becomes objectified within my world and bears witness to the power of my assumption. Of what are you conscious of being? Although you cannot see your objective with the limited focus of your three-dimensional mind, you are now that which you have assumed you are. Walk in that assumption and remain faithful to it. Time in this dimension of your being beats slowly, and you may not, even after you objectify your assumption, remember there was a time when this present reality was but an attitude of mind. Because of the slowness of the beat of time, here you often fail to see the relationship between your inner nature and the outer world that bears witness to it. I know what I want to be, and I assume that I am at the moment that which I desire to be. And instead of feasting upon the fact that I am in this room talking to you and you are listening to me, and that I am in Los Angeles, I feast upon the fact that I am elsewhere, and I walk here as though I were elsewhere, and gradually I become what I feast upon. Feast on the idea, become identified with the idea as though you were already that embodied state. Walk in the assumption that you are what you want to be. If you feast on that and remain faithful to that mental diet, you will crystallize it. You will become it in this world. Suspend judgment. Refuse to accept what reason and the senses now dictate. And if you remain faithful to the new diet, you will become the embodiment of the ideal to which you remain faithful. Except I believe I am what I want to be, I remain as I formerly was and die in that limitation. Things that I am not attentive to fade and wither within my world, regardless of what they are. They are not just born and then remain unfed. I gave them birth by reason of the fact that I became conscious of being them. When I embody them within my world, that is not the end. That is the beginning. Now I am a mother who must keep alive this state by being attentive to it. The day that I am not attentive, I have withdrawn my milk from it, and it fades from my world as I become attentive to something else in my world. Neville Goddard. So this is how it works, because it is your awareness of being or your imagination which objectifies any invisible parallel reality or state which already exists on the screen of space. Therefore, it's important to become aware of already being in your desired reality, or already having that which you desire to have or to be. As you become aware of being that which you desire to be, by mentally feeling or sensing that particular state or reality, your current reality will begin to fade away, and it will be replaced by your new reality. Basically, when you stop imagining yourself in your current reality, you are depriving it of your attention, and it will begin to fade away. It will fade away, but it will never cease to exist. It's just going to fade away from your view, but it's going to exist. And you can re-enter it at any time and reanimate it on the screen of space. So again, the key here is to become aware of already being that which you desire to be right now. And this is exactly how you animate any invisible state or parallel reality on the screen of space, or make it visible to your senses.